Hello, this is Dr. Shane. How are you doing? If you are here, I want you to do me a favor and type in one. Tell me who you are and where you are from. Tell me who you are and where you are from. Okay, so I assume folks have not arrived yet. Cool. Okay. All right, I got someone here. How you doing? Tell me who you are and where you are from. Who you are and where you are from. Anyways, I am Dr. Shane and I am super duper excited about today's program. I am duper excited about today's program. Closing the gap, closing the community gap. I see people are here. Like I said, just tell me who you are and where you are from. We are about 15 minutes before we start the broadcast. We are not scheduled to go on till 8. This is kind of the pregame, the pre-show, the pre-party. So if you guys have any comments, have any questions, we'll get this whole thing started. As they say, don't be shy. Don't be shy because once folk get on, I know I got about 700 people registered. I probably won't be able to know even that you're here in some cases. Anyways, that is that. Okay. From DC, from California. What part of California? What part of California? We're at in DC. Y'all know I'm from the DMV, so I live in Greenbelt, Maryland. I used to live in California, actually. I lived in California. I lived in LA many, many, many moons ago. Ohio. I got a Buckeye up in here. I went to Ohio State. Who's Buckeye? Who is the Buckeye? Anyways, okay, wow, this is something. I have to listen to the first three places. Are you a Buckeye fan? This is uncanny. All right, Baton Rouge. I went to undergrad at Southern. It must be all my people just like following me or something. Yeah, I went to undergrad at Southern in Baton Rouge. I went to Ohio State. I lived in LA, went to UCLA. Did not go to school in the DMV at all. Did not go to school in the DMV at all. Funny how that is. Anyways, if you have any questions or comments, type them in and I will respond to you. Before we get started, we got approximately 11 minutes before we get started. You're from Atlanta, the ATL. You just live in Ohio. So, all right, you got to tell me the truth. Be honest. Do you like Ohio? I moved to Ohio from Atlanta, and I will be honest with you. I didn't like it when I was in grad school. I was like, oh my God, I came here to die, y'all. But I think there might have been more of grad school than anything else. I was like, please, just get me through it. These folks are trying to torture me. Actually, they did torture me. So I was wasn't a fun place, but I got the job done. And sometimes that's just what you got to look at. Like, okay, did we get the degree? Yes. Did I have fun? Yeah, a pretty good time. Columbus, it grows on you. Don't let them overcast days get you, though. Okay, I'm going to check my phone and approve some other people to get in. Yep, I got a lot of people trying to get in, so let me go. Let them join. Okay, they are in now and they could come in. Any problems logging in for people? Any problems logging in? Nope, no problems. Cool. All right, that sounds good. Okay, so we have about 9 minutes. If you want to go get yourself some water or something like that, feel free to prepare yourself for tonight's program. Okay, someone else just wanted to get logged in. Okay. Maryland. What part of Maryland are you from? Tacoma Park. Okay. I used to be in Silver Spring. You like Tacoma Park? It is beautiful out there to me. You guys got that park and you're right by DC. I mean, you got that forest land, that bike trail. I was big on the bike trail. I always used to ride over there in Silver Spring. So you originally from Tacoma Park or you just live in Tacoma Park? And so I got someone saying, I'm really excited to learn something new I could use in my marriage. I just got married. Congratulations. Congratulations. So you got married in April. Tell me, I'm just curious because I can say a lot of different. What was the size of your marriage? What was the size of your marriage? What was the size? And it says best place to grow up, Tacoma Park. I think it's pretty nice. I think it has a fairy tale-ness about it. It's just a real quaint place. I loved it when I was in Silver Spring. I used to go there all the time. I used to live over on Georgia Avenue over in the Solera, Solera, which is right up the street from it. So I know the bike trails over there pretty well. So you're originally from there. Is that Mayberry, Michigan? Because I mean Maryland, because I have no idea where Mayberry is. Where is Mayberry? Okay, some more folk trying to get in. Okay, got some more folks getting in. Three more requests. Okay, I think that's everybody. So we have 6 minutes. We have 6 minutes. Like I said, if you have any questions or comments you want to share with me, do feel free. Do feel free. Okay, there goes another one. Oh, that's not another one. Okay. Oh wow. Okay, that is good. Let me see how the rest of this looks. I can see my screen now. Okay, that works. And when I go down here, that works. New York. You moved from New York to Maryland? You moved from New York to Maryland. New York. Now that is one place I've never, ever lived in life. What borough in New York? Okay, so that looks okay. I can see that. So we're good there. And I can see this screen right here. Okay, can see that screen. And I can see this screen with comments. Okay, we are cooking on all cylinders. Checking out the video. All right, we are straight. It was like Mayberry, Andy Griffith's show. Slow and laid back. Oh, Andy Griffith. Griffith is your homeboy. Is that what you're saying to me? That's kind of cool. I watched that show, but I don't know I'd want to live in Mayberry. I'll be honest. I lived in Lansing, Michigan once, which is kind of like a Mayberry. You could go to the 7-Eleven and leave your car running, and they would not steal it. They would not steal it. Amazing is that, right? I love that about the place. It was the safest place in America. For you guys, I'm looking down and I'm sorry. I'm just trying to make sure I let other people in because people are sending me requests. Hippies and rocket scientists. Yep. Same here. Is that a response to Mayberry or is that a response to Lansing, Michigan? Because our person from New York is like, for real, for real. That is not how we get down. That is not how, so not how we get down. Did you have a YouTube link? I did not. It's nothing like Upper Sandusky in Ohio. There is nothing in Sandusky. I did not have a YouTube link. You're gonna have to IM me and tell me how to do a YouTube link. That area. Okay, so we have we have like 2 minutes, and I am trying to let folk in from this. Go to group settings. Group you manage. Okay, your groups. So, anyways, I'm gonna just check right here and make sure I let everybody in. You guys give me a second here and this out the way. Membership questions, membership requests. We are okay for now. Okay. All right. Excited to get started. I am too. I'll be honest with you. I'm typically seeing couples like 1 to 2, and it is exciting to have like a lot of people here do something different. So it's definitely working. It is definitely a different model, but it is my new model. So I nothing quite like it. People don't have to leave their home and all that stuff. Lot more affordable. A lot more affordable than my practice is. But I've been kind of busy and swamped with the COVID, and I was like, I need to find a way to just serve people. So tonight was that night where I put on my service cap and said, let's do something different. So I don't know if you guys know it or not, because it's a private group, you have to type your name for it to tell me what your name is. You have to type in your name for it to tell me that information, just so that you know. Okay, I just got 3 new member requests. Let me let them in. Okay, 1 second. Let me let them in. Okay, we are going to start. You guys tell me the truth. Are you okay with me giving people like 2, 3 minutes to get in? If you're not, we're going to start because you're here. It's up to you. So, hello. You really have to type in your name. It won't tell me. They won't show a picture. I don't know. Next time they do this out in the community where you could see better. Anyways. Okay. It is about that time. You guys tell me if you want to give people like 3 more minutes to get here. If you do, I'll tell you some interesting stats about stuff with couples. So let me see what you are saying. Okay. I don't know if people are saying yes. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Well, we will be getting started soon. Trust you me on this. Okay. Let me see. Okay. Yeah. Folks are still trying to join, but I could let them join with my phone. So good. Anyways, we are going to get started. We are going to get started. I see people there. So tell me who you are and where you are from, and I will hit the start button, and I will have to keep my eyes just to make sure I don't miss people. Yeah, still going to be some people asking to join. So y'all gonna have to work with me on that. Not meaning to be rude here. Anyways, today we are doing the Closing the Gap program, and it's closing the communication gap in your marriage. Let me start by saying 60% of the couples that come to see me say they have a communication gap. They say that they are trying to close that communication gap. So that is 60%. And honestly, the divorce rates, when we go to divorce rates, the same number. It is 60% saying that communication was the biggest challenge in their marriage. So I want you all to do me a favor. If you think your marriage could be improved by communicating more effectively and closing that gap, I want you to go to the browser and I want you to straight up tell me by typing in a one, by typing in a one. So I think I'm getting a lot of ones, a lot of ones, a lot of ones. And this, it's interesting, right? People, how do I say this? They're fine. People that come to see me, 80% of life they could get through without never visiting anyone like me ever. But 5, 10, 20%, when their emotional needs clash, that's the part they have a challenge communicating on. So if you are talking about when your emotional needs clash with your spouse, maybe they in the room, maybe not. You sneak. Type a one in that joint because you're probably not alone and you are like everybody in here. And we got to start opening up to each other. I'm not going to make nobody talk. But, anyways, so let's get started here with closing the gap. This is a 5 day challenge, a 5 day challenge. My first time ever doing a free program. It was in part because of the COVID. And I was like, a lot of people have been challenged. We all been locked up. So we need to get out and have some fun. So do me a favor, like I said, tell me who you are and what made you come to a program like this. So we will jump into it. Now, closing the gap. Okay. What gap am I talking about? Yeah, it's communication gap, but it's a real gap. It's the gap between the marriage you said I do to and the marriage that we have. The marriage we said I do to and the marriage that we have. So let me start by saying this, right? We said I do. We were excited. We had this vision of what our life was going to be. We were going to soar with the crows. We were up there and we were soaring. Something happens along the way sometimes, 5, 10, 15 years down the road, where we find that boy, we may be puttering. Some days are bad days, right? Down there with the pigeons, the crows, and the buzzer. And this program is about changing that dynamic. This program, I'm just trying to look at my phone, make sure I let those people in. So you guys forgive me. It is about changing that relationship. It is about how do I close the gap between the marriage that I said I do to and the one that I have. And so couples come to me all the time, and this is a challenge that they're dealing with. So that is how we came up with the name for this program, which is Closing the Gap. So I see a lot of people. Okay, people are saying 3 minutes works. I didn't realize you guys had gone downloaded. Okay, so I have Anthony and Sylvia Pascal from Florida. Hey, Anthony. I got Bruce and Crystal from the DMV, Macon, Georgia. I got William. I'm sending my wife an invite. Thank you. I'm going to check and make sure she is allowed to get in the group. So let me do that because that might be her that's looking for approval. Yep, 5 people just asked. She probably was one of them. Cancel that decline. So they can now join. Anyway, so I have William and Vicky from Georgia, Macon, Georgia. I have not been to Macon. I used to live in Atlanta though. Beckford, DMV. I got Tampa, Florida in the house. All blessings from Ohio. We got a lot of Columbus folk here. That's kind of refreshing. I spent A lot of cold days in Columbus, overcast nights. Still a Buckeye fan though. Erica Hamilton. Hi, Erica. She was in Columbus with me. No, that's a different one. She's in. I don't know where you are, Erica. That might be you. I think that is you. Actually, okay. We are looking good. I got a manual from the DMV, Indiana. I lived in Kokomo. My God, that was a long year, like a decade. Phoenix, Arizona's in the house. Well, I thank all of you for joining me from all over. As I was saying earlier, one of the biggest problems, the biggest problems, actually, 60% of couples that come to see me say they have a problem with communication. They have a problem with communication. But can I be real honest with y'all? Beckford from Connecticut. There you go. Most people, I bet you, most people on this phone are very dynamic and very articulate. Very articulate. And I found most people speak really well. So the problem usually isn't communication. The problem is communication when our emotional needs clash. Think about it, couples out there. Most of you, I'll bet you 80% of life, 80% of life, you two get through very well. There's 20%, 5, 10, or 20 though, when our emotional needs clash. And this part is designed, this program has helped us design to deal with that. So if you're getting through 80% of life's challenges, fine, you can type a 80 in the browser. You can type a 80% in the browser. Got some more folks from Hyattsville here. So we are talking about closing the gap, and it's closing the gap from the marriage you said I do to the marriage that you have. Like we started out, we were soaring with the Eagles. Bad days, we find ourselves more like the pigeons, the crows, and the birds. I just got one person at 80%. Y'all an amazing group if that is the case. It is 80%. 80% of life. That's pretty good though. Most of us, there we go. There we go. That's that. Now that makes more sense to me, right? So we ask ourselves, what happened? Did they send an imposter? What happened in that version? Remember how loving, affectionate? I mean, we could hear each other breathe all night. We didn't have no problem communicating. What happened? When did these communication problems show up? When did this gap first emerge? Was it your representative? Was it your representative that they sent? Some people say you sent their representative. I'll be honest with you, people frequently don't. Other things happen, but people frequently don't send their representative. Sometimes we're just really excited. We're thrilled about who they are and we fantasize. And then reality, fantasy intersections with reality, and we have to cut a deal. We have to start to work on that 20% that's so hard. And that's what happened when our emotional needs clash. For instance, I'll give you one. And I'm going to ask you guys to type in the browser some of the challenges couples face. And I'll respond to any comments, well, as many comments as I can about some of the challenges couples face. So I'll give you a perfect example of when emotional needs clash. So we dated. Oh my God. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was amazing that she had 6 months rent saved. She had 6 months living saved. She was ready for a rainy day, right? Wow, sister had it going on. I met him. He had these designer suits, she says. He had this exotic car. And boy, I thought this brother got it going on. Ain't too many of those out there, right? And all of those things are fine. And then one day, we get married. And all our money goes into the till. And hold up, it was okay to do those things. Vulnerability, I'll talk about that. It was okay to spend your money like that, but not my money. It was great that you saved. I want to learn to save, but boy, we got to cut a deal. So, what happens when emotional needs clash? That's when we start to have our challenges. When we were dating, our money wasn't in the same till. There was no gap to close. We did not have such integration. We were not co-joined. We were not had not come together as one. And that's when I find a lot of couples that see me, boy, they start to say, you're not the person I thought you were. Well, they are. They are. They are. So, some of the questions people wanted me to talk about today, and I will at some point, is vulnerability, is money. So, I just talked about money. And one of the things about money that I was saying is it's different when it's their money and our money. I should get at least like 1,000 amens on that. Am I right? It's different when it's their money and our money. So, I'm going to say one thing that's important. When our emotional needs clash, we have to learn to cut a deal. We have to learn to cut a deal, y'all. So you want to save 20, they want to save 10. We might want to get the 15. But first, we got to recognize, hey, I'm glad you take care of her, Rainy. That's part of the reason I married you. I'm glad you enjoy the ride, or we're not going to get to 20. Infidelity. Now, infidelity is a big one. Infidelity is definitely one of the things that couples come to see me about, and that's a high percent as well. Let me go back up here. When there has been separation in the marriage, we are going to deal with that throughout this program by recognizing that's one of the reasons couples don't communicate too well because they are separate. But are they separate because people are isolated, or are they separate because of the vulnerability that you talked about? People aren't willing to be vulnerable. We have to be vulnerable. If they tell you their love language is different, like, okay, I'll give you a popular one I see. If they say their love language is quality time and you give them gifts, right? You're giving them gifts and they're saying quality time, we're going to have a disconnect. We're going to have a disconnect. Let me tell you why. Because they're going to think you're an ingrate. And you're going to think, I don't care about none of that. I married you because I love you. I want us to have fun. But being vulnerable is recognizing that you're both right. Being vulnerable is recognizing you are giving me things because you love me. You know, you could give me a staycation. That'd be a pretty good gift. Hey, babe, I see that you really want to spend time with me. Thank you. I see you're giving me gifts because you love me. Let's just figure it out. Let's figure it out how to learn to cut a deal. So people say hiding information, secretive PTSD issues. So I thank you all. If you bring up any questions related to those, I will answer them. But those are the challenges that couples face. Temper and anger issues. Temper and anger issues. Folk can say some stuff when they get mad, and if they got a bad temper, we got to figure out how to not have that directed at us. So, I will tell you a little bit about who I am. I am Dr. Shane. I'm the founder of African American Marriage Counseling that I started over 19 years ago. I went to graduate school at Ohio State University. I went to undergrad at Southern in Baton Rouge. I am a certified Gottman level one, level two, and level three provider. And those were just some amazing training. So you are going to get some, some very research driven approaches in this. And that is what I got from the Dr. Gottman Institute. So codependency, I've been fortunate enough to be in Ebony, the Washington Post, Congressional Black Caucus, where I've been invited to speak about issues in our community. And I've seen Black folk fight for their marriage. And really, I'll talk about that a little later, but it's been great to champion our cause. Uh, this is me on the Roland Martin show. He was had me on to talk about my book, which was amazing. I'd like to say I wrote it, but the women in my office wrote it, and they gave me just a lot of insights on some of their challenges, a lot of issues that you raise in here, codependency, and all those things. And it was interesting because y'all ever watch Roland Martin? If y'all ever watch Roland Martin, he's like kind of scary when you go out there. I was in that green room, and lo and behold, they were tearing this person alive, and I went out there, and I was like, "This is about to be on," and it was. But it was a great experience, and I appreciated the notoriety. Here's my book, The Black Manual: A Single Woman's Guide to Less Drama and More Love. you know someone out there that needs one, feel free. Uh, so, since starting my practice over 19 years ago, I have worked with 5,500 couples. That's 5,500 couples. And you're going to get the benefit of their successes and lessons learned. What did I learn from those 19 in those 19 years from those 5,500 couples is that we love our families. So a lot of you on here like these couples. We don't see them on nightly news, but they are definitely newsworthy, and they invest in their families, they fight for their families. We go to the nth degree. And I remember that article they had where they had this young brother and he was on the Washington Post. You guys remember him? They asked him, they said, "Sir, or young man rather, what do you think about marriage?" He said, "Marriage is for white folk." And I'm here to say, I think y'all are demonstrated this for us too. So I will jump uh 1 second. I would like to say one thing. So yeah, I've worked with a lot of couples, and I've seen the best of times, and I've seen the worst of times in our marriages. So let me just say, stop. You know, if you're at a place in your marriage where you're dealing with some of the issues you guys have talked about, or go back, trust, codependency, uh, secrecy, PTS issues, hiding information, infidelity, you are likely at a place where you are looking at your marriage and you are trying to make some decisions, right? You're trying to decide what is your future going to be. And I know it's easy to say, please, I know I took a vow, God, but is this going to get better? And I'm here to say, generally, it will get better. It won't be easy. It won't just be in a quick course like this. You'll have to invest. But I've seen a lot of couples come through some very challenging situations, and they were couples like you. But I got to be real with you. So when it comes to marriage, yep, to divorce or not to divorce. So before you get there, let's just talk about it. So what I see is what I call the rule of thirds. So 1/3 of the couples come to see me no matter what. And if you're thinking about divorce, you may be there. Nothing I could do. It was too late. The question is, can they co-parent? The next third, boy, we have to figure out how to make this work. I like what you're saying about no accountability. So if you guys want to explain a little more about what it is, I'll gladly respond to as many as I can. So one group, no matter what, boy, they're just not going to make it. The other third, it's like, hey, how do we deal with some of our hardcore issues? Either we have children and we've decided we're going to stay, or we just don't believe in divorce. We just don't believe it's over. Because one of the things I learned is that 30%, divorce rates drop by as much as 30% when you get an intervention, such as even a program like this or a self help book. So I know where you're at. Some of you may come here for a tune up. Some of you may be here trying to say, hey, how do I get a serious assistance, some help, some support? And I'm here to say, I've seen a lot of marriages get better. You have to invest because the reality is most marital problems I've seen, they're not a will problem. If something like those things have happened and you're still in it, you got the will to make it. The question is, how do you get the skills? And we'll talk about that shortly. Let me see. There are some men on here. So let me tell you, y'all think women are emotional? Y'all gonna make me lose my man card. Men are way more emotional than women. Men are very, very emotional. We just don't, we manage our emotions around our jobs and around our career. So let me talk about the other third. The other third is couples that are going to close the gap from where they are in their marriage to where it needs to be. And that's going to be simply by developing some skills and developing the skills to start to resolve your difference and to start to close the gap. You're welcome. I can't say it is, but if you could tell me, I'll know. So we could start closing the gap in the relationship that we have. So we start to learn how to actually fix some of our problems. We learn how to really address them. So let me just say this, when we start looking at it, and I know a lot of you are thinking about your families, and I want to say the biggest threat to your family isn't really finances. It isn't sending them to the right school. It isn't even sending them to the right college, to be honest with you. The biggest threat is, are you two going to close the gap? So I want you to listen really, really closely. And I want you to just start asking yourself, hey, am I willing to do something different? Am I willing to do something different? So, no matter where you are, all of the challenges you mentioned, they're real. Like, they come into my office every day. Some of you have been in my office. Let me say this to you: all couples face some types of challenges. All couples face some types of challenges. Let me see this question. Yes, my husband is here. Hey, what's up, sir? Thank you for joining me. Man, we are emotional, brother. We are. I hope I don't lose my man card. It takes two to make a marriage, skills and the will to make it work, right? Anything worth having is worth working for or investing in. And that's what it's going to take. So I'm going to tell you, all couples have challenges. So I'll give you a story about Jack and Jill, right? Jack, Jill, you all remember they ran up the hill and blankety, blankety, blank, right? So Jack marries Jill. Years later, they go to an office party. She's like, Jack's pretty boring. Jack is pretty boring. Why did I marry him again? And she starts to think Jamal wasn't boring. In fact, if Jamal was here right now, he'd be the life of the party. He would be the life of the party. So she longs about him. And then she remembers, hold up, he would be drunk by now. And everybody at the party would know him, but not for the reasons I'd want him to know my mate, my man. So she says, okay, and she starts to think about Jamal. Now, Jamal, boy, he would come in with them cufflinks, them exotic suits, leave out of some exotic car, and everyone will be blown away. But maybe Jamal doesn't come because he's a workaholic and he doesn't show up. And she's there to the end, and maybe he comes, maybe he doesn't. My point is, every couple has challenges. Are not alone. What this program is about is helping you understand what is the difference between couples that close the gap when they have their challenge and those that don't. I'm going to say that one more time. What is the difference between couples, spouses that close the communication gap and those that don't? Type a answer in the browser. I'm sure you guys have thought about this. What do you think is the difference between spouses that close that communication gap, that are where many of you are right now? Like, I looked at the things you typed in there, and they are where you are. What is the difference between those that close the gap and those that don't? I challenge you to respond, and I will respond to your response. I guarantee you that one. So I'm going to lead the way by starting to talk about it. I see a difference. So every spouse, so don't feel funny if this is you, that comes into my office, they're able to make deals, as you said. You are correct. One must recognize that there is an issue for a solution to be considered, and this is the first step to making progress to be successful. I agree. You have to be willing to do the work. You do, Lisa, and I just want to talk about that, being willing to do the group work, because I'm going to talk about that a little later. Once you do the work, and the other did not, I think that happens a lot too. They continue to fall apart. Your husband is trying to log in. Let me approve him. One second here. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude. I'm just approving her husband. Let me go over here and approve. Oh, I got three people that are trying to join. So, okay. One second. Let me approve here. Okay, here we go. They are all approved. He can join now. Anyways, so get back here. All right. So marriage is a tale of two cities. And I found this through the COVID. For some, it was the best of times. I saw couples really get stronger. I saw couples, someone said, let those husbands in. They are in now. They're in. Gap closers learn more about each other. That is true. Therapy work if only one person shows for the therapy. I used to think not, but I have seen it work. Obviously, at some point, we would try to get them both in, but it can. The blame game. So, yes, there is a blame game. So, marriage is a tale of two cities, but what is the mindset of those couples that work it through and close the gap? So, I'm going to go through this part. So, most couples, and if you are in here, I guarantee you, you are likely the same if you're not the same. Most couples talk to me, they come in and they say, fix them. Fix them. Lord, if I could just send them by myself and give you about like 60 years with them, they might be okay. No, if I could, that'd be expensive too. But it's like, they're like, nah, if I could really just send them, I'm okay. So that's how they come in. When couples hit a milestone and we really start making progress, they say, fix us. And the reason I think that's so true because we both play a role in it. And we could have been kind of perfectly walking into this, but at some point, boy, we developed challenges. Like if it was just a case that they didn't trust you, eventually you stop trusting them. They didn't like you, eventually you stop liking them, and it changes our personality. So when couples are ready to be discharged, their approach is just fix me. My spouse will take care of themselves. Now, I'm not going to ask you to start there. I'm going to ask you to start where everyone else starts on fix them. And I just want to say that is not the ultimate goal. Although we may have to fix them, we'll probably have to fix both of us. And that is the mindset of couples coming to see me. And that is one of the changes we have to make. Yes, we have to be able to see our own part. We have to be able to see our own part. So, my mother, who was a psychologist, had this famous saying that she used to always repeat. I don't know if she coined it herself or not, but she would always say to me, I got some more new people trying to get in. She would always say to me, honey, if all you have in your toolbox is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. If all you have in your toolbox is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. What does that mean? It simply means sometimes we get to a point that frustration and anger and us fighting for control is the only tool we have in our in our toolbox, and we really need to get more tools because sometimes you need a screwdriver, sometimes you need a brush, sometimes you need a tape so that you don't have to cut twice because you've measured it twice and you just cut once, and we're more precise. Sometimes people say it's communication when they don't have an environment where the person can be communicative. Person tells them how they feel, they say that's not true. Anyway, so we need to get more tools in our toolbox. So I'm asking everybody, and I got a lot of callers on this thing. I want you all to go in and type and tell me what tool do you need in your toolbox, not your spouse. We're going to let them off the hook for now. All right, I'll tell you what. You could type what tool you need first. Some of you may say I don't need any. Type in what tool they need in their toolbox. I'm going to read some of these out loud, so go ahead. Du- Who said duct tape? Who said duct tape? I wish I might do mine on my page next time, so I can see who it is. Duct tape, listening, understanding. I need trust, honesty. He needs to be honest. I think is what she was saying. What are some tools they need in their toolbox? Listening and hearing. needs to listen and stop talking over. That can be a frustrating thing. That could be a very frustrating thing because there's a lot of chatter going on there, but not a lot of listening. Listening, transparency, objectivity, patience, accountability. Stay in the present. Answer her question, not my interpretation of her question. That is true. Some y'all got some psychotherapy training up in here. I know. Understanding. So we need to get different tools in our toolbox. They need to get different tools in their toolbox. And that's what this program is about. Wow, confidence. That's a serious one. Less blunt, but still honest. I need what? Hold up. Bingo. Stop the pressure, guys. I got to go up. I don't know who this is, but tell me who you are. I need patience. I need. That's the first person that said what they need. I need to be more assertive. And he needs to be open with compromise. Selfless. He needs to be more selfless, or she needs to be. Self awareness, forgiveness. Yes, it is hard to be with a non forgiving spouse. So, those are the tools that we need in our toolbox. So, what is this Closing the Gap program about? He needs to be more flexible. This program is about the G, the A, and the P. And they represent pretty much a lot of the challenges that you talked about, including compassion. So, getting your needs met by giving. Years ago, I got into sales. And can I tell you guys, I was painfully shy. And I read this book by Zig Ziglar. If you heard this book by Ziggy, just type a Z into the column. I read this book by Zig Ziglar, and he said you could get everything in the world you want if you just help enough other people get what you want. I was like, let me hear that again. He said you can get everything in the world you want if you just help enough other people get what they want. And I thought, this is crazy, right? I'm in sales. I got to help people get what they want. I just want to sell them. So I went out with our top person on a sales call, Steve Johnson, right? Steve Johnson used to teach all the training, and I'm like, man, he's about to blow this guy away. So he goes into the sales meeting. I'm shadowing him. He says, well, Mr. Customer, I see this is a family business. How long has it existed? Oh my God, my father's father passed it down. One day it's going to be mine, and one day it's going to be my son. He says, well, it seems to me you like long-term relationships. He's like, oh my God, they're everything. We don't do quick sales. We take care of our customers. They are gold. So he spent the whole time asking this guy questions. And at the end, he said, I got the best solution in the world for you. It is all about long-term customers. And he got the sale. I would have been trying to sell them benefits, you guys, and slices and dices, You could get two for the price of one. They didn't want a slicer or a dicer. They wanted somebody to help them treat their long-term customers like gold. And I'm saying you can get everything. I know this is going to sound foreign to you all. I see someone with a tear. Tell me why that tear is there. You can get everything you want if you'll help your spouse get what they want. Maybe not everything, but you certainly can get more. And this program is about how do we do that? How do we get them to listen to us by listening to them? I know that sounds jack crazy, and you're probably thinking I'm a nut right now, but you'll be amazed how much progress customers make when we simply acknowledge what they're saying. Think about it. Think about it. If you're on this call, I can make some stuff up, and I know I'm going to hit a certain percentage of you, right? If you're on this call, for your spouse just to stop and say, I love the way you take care of our family. You just put it in. Yeah, you work harder than I'd like you to, and you're not here as much. But let me say, I appreciate what you do for our family. I appreciate your contribution. Hey, honey, you're right. I work too hard. I need to spend more time on you and the kids. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Once every 6 weeks, once every 3 months, we're going to take a staycation. You've been saying that's your love language forever, and I'm going to meet it. We get a lot out of acknowledgement. We don't have to agree with the person, but we got to start acknowledging them if we want them to acknowledge us. So processing to get on the same page. We have to accept everyone doesn't communicate the same way. Everyone doesn't communicate the same way. There are three types of processors, you guys. There's a non-processor, a processor, and a metaprocessor. And what that is, some will never talk about their feelings, like the person said. They're secretive and they are quiet. Some people will talk about their feelings, but talk about them once, and they'll say, "We already had this conversation." That's a processor. And the third will talk about their feelings and the feelings about their feelings. That is a metaprocessor. And people hired or same and marry the opposite. How many metaprocessors on this call? How many processors? How many non-processors? I bet we have fewer non-processors on here than any other group, right? So we're going to help you figure out how to get on the same page. I want to answer on that. You a processor, a non-processor, or a metaprocessor? Where you talk about your feelings and the feelings about your feelings? Y'all still on Zig Ziglar. Yeah, that's good. I appreciate that. All right. So that is what we're going to do. And that is the tools that this program is designed to give us. So a lot of people, I got probably a metaprocessor. If you think you are, you are. I got two metaprocessors. Probably the non-processors aren't going to say anything, but the processors will. Okay, I got a processor, another metaprocessor. Oh, a non-processor, a non-metaprocessor, I think they said. Then you might be a processor. I got a metaprocessor. I got a processor. A lot of metaprocessors, and I'm not surprised because, boy, metaprocessors tend to be drawn to therapy. It tends to fit their personality. So that should not shock us. So I'll tell you something. So interesting, right? I'll get metaprocessor. If you are a metaprocessor, is your spouse a processor or a non-processor or another metaprocessor? Husband is a non-processor with a sprinkle of processor. That is the opposites that I'm talking about. Remember, I started out by saying people hire the same and marry the opposite. Metaprocessor, learning each other, helping each other grow, but the willingness to allow. That is hard. That is wow, powerful. Non-processor. So more times than not, people don't marry the same. And if you are a metaprocessor, I want you to be honest with me, if you can. We got to figure out how to cut a deal. Am I right? Because that is driving you crazy. But we're also going to have to cut it on both sides. A lot of times we get married and we want that person to be our everything. And I'm not in the stepping out on your marriage. That's not what I'm saying. Because you don't have to do that for this to work. But you have to accept that you're probably not going to get everything from your spouse. I'm not trying to offend anybody. I ain't saying do nothing crazy and let some inappropriateness up in your marriage. You got a good friend that you talk to, and we have to get you to tap into them and help your partner start to at least become a processor as opposed to a non-processor. Yes, I'm a processor. My husband is a meta processor. You know, that could be a challenge. That could be a challenge because I see couples like that, and I'm like, Lord, you are going to drive her crazy because she can't process all that information because really is about bandwidth. Processors don't have the bandwidth. They don't have the non-processors don't have the bandwidth. They just get overwhelmed. I know that doesn't help. So a lot of you are probably on this call asking, can we get our mojo back? Does lightning strike the same place twice? If you're asking that question, go into the browser and type a M. Type of M. This one ain't for MetaProcessor. This is for Mojo. Can we get it back? Can we get it back? I don't see no M's. I don't see no M's. I'm gonna type an M in here. Hold up. It won't let me type it. There we go. We got some M's in there. Can we get our mojo back? And that's key. Can we get our mojo back? And I'm here to say yes. Frequently you can. Why do I say that? So, a lot of people simply say, MetaProcessor and MetaProcessor. Tell me how that is, MetaProcessor with another MetaProcessor. We need to learn from you. I'm curious about that, right? Seen it work, and I see it be a challenge too. So can we get our mojo back? So lightning, right? People say lightning never strikes the same place twice. How many of you heard that? If you heard that, go to the browser, type in a Y. Type in a Y. You have heard lightning never strikes the same place twice, right? Not true. Fact, I could tell you lightning is more likely to strike the same place twice than a new place. Y'all hear that right? Y'all hear that right? Lightning is more likely to strike the same place twice in a new place. Let me say why that is. So, one night in Chicago during a thunderstorm, I got any people from the Chi in the house. I got some people from the South Side. One night in Chicago, Sears Tower got struck 37 times. 37 times. Same night by electricity. You're saying, well, statistically, that does not make sense. The challenge is lightning does not follow statistical laws. Lightning follows the laws of physics and nature, not statistical laws of probability. So there was a lightning rod that it was. There were ions in there. There were all these properties associated with lightning striking. What happened when the lightning struck is that's what lightning does. So if you two have a friendship or you have a history of having a friendship and we could repair it, we could get back to your friendship. Odds go up. Okay, I got some folk from the west side up in here. Got married, generally probably had share values. I mean, people, I'm surprised. That's one of the things that marital therapy has taught me, you guys. People generally make good decisions. I know you may wonder about that some moments, right? But overall, people make generally good decisions. People get good spouses. They just do. No, every now and then someone gets a bad one. That happens. Don't get me wrong. But people usually get people with similar values in some ways. People, that is something that draws lightning. Shared values, friendship, compatibility, and communication. Now, do those things take kids? Because I noticed y'all stop typing. I ain't had a yes, a one, or nothing since I started talking about that. But if you had a friendship before, South Side, okay, okay. Daryl and Carol Dean from the South Side got the Shy up in here. People generally have people that are good people. They just generally do as a rule. So, what I'm here to say is that we can help you give Mojo its best chance. We could help you have the best chance of reigniting the flame if the elements were there. Some people will say, well, how was your relationship? I asked them before. They said it was horrible. Well, it's going to be horrible now. But how was it before you said I do? It was great. We just have to get back to that marriage. So it's like I'm in DC. I am not a Redskins fan, and I don't mean to offend anyone that is. But I've been to some Redskin games. And when we're over in there, I got some side. Sorry about that. I'm a Buckeye from Ohio. I'm sorry. Ohio State, the Buckeyes. Yes, if you're on here from Michigan, I know you just wax us, but that's another conversation. But what I'm saying is, if I'm in that stadium trying to talk to you, won't hear me. Too much interference. But if we could help remove some of that interference and we have a history of being able to hear each other, we will likely be okay. OHIO. There you go, baby. So, anyways, I just say all that to say to you, hey, if we could remove some of the noise, some of the interference that gets in the way, we probably can repair many of those things and help you. As long as I'm not a Cowboys fan, that's funny. I love my Buckeyes. Now, there are a lot of Buckeyes that play for the Cowboys. You will have to give me that. But, anyways, I digress. So, I'm here to say, hey, there are ways to help you get your mojo back. We could help you get some of the skills, and you very likely could get your mojo back. So, you guys stick around, go through the rest of this week. We're going to take you through the whole gap process. And at the end, I'm going to have something very special for you because it may take more than this to get you there, but I am doing something I've never, ever done before. Ever. See, I got some Cowboys fans there too. I recognize them. It all works out. Anyways, so let me just say this because it's really important. Frequently, frequently you could get that spark back. Divorce rates drop as much as 30% with an intervention, as much as 30% with an intervention. And this is one such intervention. Reading a book is an intervention. Obviously, I don't want you all to do psychotherapy. That'd be a very big intervention. But I may have something special for you at the end. And I want you all to know it is never too late to live your happily ever after. It is never too late to live your happily ever after. So no matter where you are, we can help you close the gap. I can't say I could be all things to all people because I cannot. Sometimes there's just a lot of damage that has been done, and people are sick and tired of being sick and tired. But if you want to do the work, I'm definitely here to help you develop the skills to do the work. Anyways, that is my presentation for tonight. If you have questions, I will go through some of them. I won't get too personal because then that's psychotherapy and this is psychoeducation, and it's not really to be mistaken for psychotherapy. You need to talk to a psychologist or a therapist, get a licensed one in your state. So let me read some. I'm glad you said that. You know what? Next week I'm going to do it on my page because I can't really see your picture on the group and I can't see your names. But I am going to do that because I don't know who just said I want to do the work. So next week I am going to do it on my page. I mean, tomorrow night, rather, I'm going to do it on my page. I want to do the work. That is key. That is key. That's a great attitude. So, anyways, if there are any more questions or comments, experience is the best teacher. It is. It is. But some experiences we have to avoid because they could be the most expensive teachers. And I think that's why you guys are all on the call. So, anyways, do I have a Cash App? We want to show some appreciation. That is so sweet. That is so sweet. I do have a Cash App, but let me do this. What is the MetaProcessor? What is my Cash App? It's 202-257-2031. 202-257-2031. Anyways, you all tune in tomorrow. We'll probably be doing it on my page. Yes, we will use the workbook. I'm glad you asked that. So, in the workbook, what I want you to do tonight, let me go to the workbook because I had that up. I want you to go through and answer the questions. I think the workbook is key because if you want to put in the work, you have to. There's really no way around it. Uh, I'm gonna throw the men under the bus. Can I throw the men under the bus for a second? A lot of times we come into a group like this, and what we do is we don't do the work. We just come here, we get excited, we get all this hope. But we have to sit down, we have to go through the workbook. I have men answers and I have women answers, and that's why I have the two workbooks. What I want you to do is start to compare the answers. So in the first night, as much an introduction as any place, but we talked about like what tools will you need in your toolbox. I want you to go through and answer those things. I want you to go through and look at them and really say it. And starting tomorrow night, what we're going to do is we are going to go through the workbook and just have you compare your answers with each other. So tomorrow we will start using the workbook. Anyways, let me see if anyone said it. I will filling out using the workbook. I was filling it out as we're talking. Yeah, this conversation is straight off the workbook, and it is designed really to help you start to think about some of those questions, like what tools do you need in your toolbox? Straight out of it. Can this be watched on replay? We're here to do the work with section. If you look, so tonight will be the first few pages. It will be the intro section. And then tomorrow will be when we start to go into the giving section to get your needs met. You'll be able to see and follow it pretty closely. This will be like the first section, which is the overview section. Someone said, can I define the processors again? Yeah, and that'll be one of the things when we use the workbook towards the end where I'm actually having you compare. So, three types of processors. There is a processor. Well, there's a non-processor. So, processing is how you talk about your feelings, right? So, a non-processor never talks about their feelings. If you didn't order the book, just go back through your links and you should order it, and it will help you, especially if you get your spouse to complete it. So the homework is to do the first section of the book, just to go through, really skim through, look at all the questions, start formulating your answers that'll resonate when I talk about it. Some of them you might not be able to do. So I was going to answer the questions about the book. So the first is the non-processor. Non-processors just simply are not talking about their feelings ever in life. They don't communicate about their feelings, not who they are. Either they're just secretive, either or as kids, they were taught kids to be seen and not heard, or they learned, hey, boy, I could show you better than I could tell you, or they're just private people, maybe even introverted people, not going to talk about their feelings. They are non-processors. And if you are with a non-processor, you know it. Anyone here with a non-processor? Type MP in the browser. I actually have a lot of MPs. People tend to hire the same or the opposite, right? Then there are processors. They will talk about their feelings, but they'll talk about them once. And you might hear them say, babe, you're living in the past. We already talked about that. You keep bringing up the same thing. We've discussed it. See, people know pretty clearly. So that is a processor is different than a non-processor. And sometimes you might say you're a non-processor. No, they'll talk about it, but they'll talk about it once. Then we have the MetaProcessor. They'll talk about their feelings and the feelings about their feelings. And I'm going to ask this question if you guys have the courage, especially my non processors and my processors, because I got to ask you this question just to give them insight. If you are married to a processor, I mean a metaprocessor, who wants to talk about their feelings and the feelings about their feelings, not slamming them. This isn't a slam, so I want you guys to read this not defensively. It simply is this. Do you get overwhelmed because you don't have the bandwidth to go over it but so many times? Because I think we're wired the way we are because we have different types. They call them archetypes inside. See, I'm a processor. Let's talk about it, then move on. That is correct. So, what I find, honestly speaking, is processors are people who take action. They're just like, we talked about it. I am ready to move on. So how the non-processors and processors said, yeah, we get completely overwhelmed. We're not trying to ignore you. We're not trying to hurt you. It's not personal. It's just overwhelming for us. Real talk, you guys, real talk. So I got a side-eyed look. I'm sorry. I gotta work with the non-processors too and the processors. I'm sorry. But I love you, meta-processors. Y'all give me a thumbs down. Y'all collectively give me a thumbs down on that one. That's fine. So I forget where I was, but my mind is gonna bring me back there. Just give me a nanosecond, right? So if you are a non-processor and you are a processor married to a processor, we have to help them understand that it's not personal. Are you going to have big marital problems with someone that loves you, someone that really cares? We don't want that to be your experience. It's not that it's overwhelming. It's just if we're resolved the issue, it's time to move forward. Can't move forward if we are constantly talking about feelings past. Real talk, just a balance in there. Don't know the situation. I ain't gonna have another MetaProcessor give me a side eye look. But we're wired for different reasons. Like some things you just have to work in isolation and get it done. Non-processors are good at that. Hey, the cavalry ain't coming. You got to figure out how to do it yourself. Bam, it's a strength. Processors talked about it once. Got my plan. I'm executing. Important. MetaProcessors, boy, we need to go over it. Make sure we get it right. Important. Somehow MetaProcessors feel like their feelings matter. So how should MetaProcessors feel like their feelings matters? All right, y'all pushing me, but I'm gonna give this to you. I am gonna give this to you, right? What I tell people is this, and you're still gonna be mad at me, MetaProcessor, but this is a better solution, right? If if you are a MetaProcessor, right? I mean, if you are a MetaProcessor, I'm going to ask you to tell your spouse every other day, we will talk for 13 minutes, no more. You'll get your feelings acknowledged. They may not go into depths, but there's a beginning and an end, and you can't go past 13 minutes. If you are a non-processor or a processor, that is a great deal to cut. Take that deal and run with it every day because it is a daggone good one. It is a good one. They'll feel like they were heard. You'll feel like it's manageable and you could go on with your day. So, no, is that what you would want? But there has to be a beginning and an end, especially for a non processor or a processor. So, that is what I tell couples to do every other day, 13 minutes. We go to the same room, never our bedroom, never our bedroom, never your bedroom. And you go there and you simply talk. And that is the deal that I have people cut. We good? Okay. Okay, so we asking for 13 minutes. That is all. That is all. I know you just warming up MetaProcessor, but I'll be honest. Okay, I'm gonna give you another one, MetaProcessor. I have some ground rules. You can't talk no more than 2 minutes at a time. No more than 2 minutes at a time. You can't go through your list of points, like all 13 things. So this is what happens. First one, all right. Thought we had talked about that. Second one, no, we definitely talked about that one. You ain't say nothing I said. Third one, oh, that's how this conversation is going. By the time you get to the eighth point, their eyes are glazed over. They are glazed over, and you're talking to yourself, anyways. So we can do it. Someone said, "What? I hope you're not mad at me. I'm sorry." So this is what we're gonna do. Is we're gonna do it 13 minutes. 13 minutes. Two fives and a three. 13 minutes. And that is it. Anyways, I thank you all for joining me tonight. I appreciate it. I am super excited to be able to serve you, to start this whole process on what can we do to close the communication gap. It's been a pleasure to serve you. If you like what you heard, give me a thumbs up. Heart. Some of the MetaProcessors or non-Ohio State fans probably gonna give me a thumb down. Sometimes I get as many as two or three. Anyways, I thank you all. So tomorrow we will look to be in a different person. I'm just gonna do this in my Facebook page so that I can see your faces and see your names. I didn't realize in a private group you cannot. So that's what we're gonna do. Someone said go do. Hold up, what you mean go Duke? We played Duke. Y'all see that shellacking. All right, it's a 1 point win, but we were unranked. Y'all were number one. So I get the Duke Kate. Get the Duke Kate. Go. All right, we got them Georgia Bulldogs in the house. Go Dogs. That was a great win. Y'all beat your nemesis. Y'all beat your nemesis. I need to say that quiet. She's Bama fan. She's rolling tide, right? But anyways, great win. You got the monkey off your back. Happy you're national champions. Happy for you. So it's just nothing like winning the national championship in life, right? Oh, go Michigan. I got a bull. Okay, Michigan, y'all spanked us this year. You spanked us. It's like Finally, y'all just said enough. So we're happy for you. I thought it was a good game. I don't know if you were Bull me or the Bulldog, but y'all had a great season. Y'all beat us. We're going to go with that. I'm going to give you your moment. That was a great game. Someone said, go Chiefs. That game last night was ridiculous. I've never seen a 13-second TD in my life. In my whole life. I'm like, 13 seconds? Are you kidding me? Anyways, you all, we will see you tomorrow. The link will be, I'm going to have it in my page so that, you know, I can see you and I can see your names. It won't let me do that in the private community. Anyways, thanks a lot. I look forward to talking to you all, and we will see you. We will see you tomorrow. Make it a great evening, and I will see you then. Okay. Bye bye. Bye bye. Is that what that is? Nana Nana. Someone ain't going to Zoom, but that's not good. Gotta get that work out of there. I'm trying to turn this thing off and can't. 1 second. Okay.